Hello and welcome to Product Popcorn, the podcast that explores topics related to product management. Most of the time. We talk with product managers and also designers and engineers that work on product teams, and only sometimes discuss the possibility of artificial intelligence taking over the world. You can always read more at productpopcorn.com. Today on the podcast, I have two guests, William Kammersell and Lieschen Quilling. They both work for CA Technologies, which you probably know as Rally Software. CA acquired Rally a couple of years ago. The fact that William and Lieschen work for Rally makes them uniquely qualified to talk about scaling Agile. William also has a blog post on this topic, which I'll list in the show notes. I originally saw William do this presentation at Rocky Mountain Product Camp, a fantastic event for PMs if you're in the Denver-Boulder area. You can learn more at rmpcamp.org. Hey everybody, welcome to Product Popcorn. I'm Kimberly and I'm a product manager.
I'm Adam and I'm Santa. Ho, ho, ho.
How am I going to edit that out?
That's okay. I'm okay with that.
Okay, all right.
Don't edit this out, Kim. We're going to leave it.
Okay, all right. I guess it's like non-denominational.
I feel like I nailed it.
You definitely did. Really
I did
good.
something. Maybe I didn't nail it.
All right, today on Product Popcorn, we are talking about scaling Agile. And is actually based on a presentation I saw at Rocky Mountain Product Camp. It was super cool. And William Kammersell was there, and now he's here in the studio. And he's here with Lieschen. Did I say your name right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nailed it.
They both work at CA Technologies, formerly Rally, acquired by CA Technologies, and they've been experimenting with scaling Agile on their teams. So they're going to talk about that today.
They wear scientist coats when they experiment, right?
Yes.
Always.
They're
That's
wearing
why-
them right now.
No pocket is safe.
They
Pocket protection.
don't take them off.
Instant authority. People respect the code.
They know. They're like, wow, there is some experimenting going on right now.
Yeah.
Do you have like random like beakers
I was about
of
to say, I
liquid
drink my
too?
coffee out of a beaker.
Yeah, just to look smarter.
If you don't do that, you should start.
White elephant gift.
Ooh,
That's a good
Ooh.
one. That's a good
Yeah.
one.
I do need a white elephant gift.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, you guys should both just start drinking your coffee out of beakers and just say this new like agile like idea of like I don't know where you would go with that. You're gonna have to
You're
work
gonna have
on
to
that
think
one.
on that one.
Yeah, but you know,
Anyway, we're gonna intro them in a couple minutes.
what are we talking about?
Well, we're talking. Okay, so there's this. These are the two things that we're going to talk about before we intro Lieschen and William. Is one, we're going to talk about upcoming podcast episodes. I'll do it really
Yes.
fast. Okay, so we have a few really cool episodes up and coming that are cool. One is the ethics of AI. It's actually based on my obsession with the book Weapons of Math Destruction. If you haven't read it, you should. It's really awesome and cool and thought-provoking.
She purposely said math. She doesn't have a lisp. That was on purpose. She said math.
And I didn't say
destruction.
interesting. I was trying really hard.
Interesting.
Ooh.
It's interesting. No, but really, like, it talks about like how product managers, like what they can do to help control the outcomes of if you're using machine learning in your product. It's a really cool book. Anyway, we're going to talk about it with a machine learning engineer next week. Interesting. Secondly, Black Mirror is coming out soon. It's rumored that it's going to be out before the end of the year, Adam. So this means that Adam and I will not be spending Christmas with our families or Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate, because we're going to be just like obsessively
I celebrate Festivus.
watching Black Mirror. We're not going to see our families. We're going to sit in this living room. We're going to watch them all and record podcasts.
Sorry,
like
Mom.
24 straight hours.
I know I've booked my flight and promised you that I would be there, but Black Mirror, she would totally get it.
It's more important. Okay, last one. I think maybe found a doctor to talk about the future of AI in medicine.
At least he says he's a doctor.
Yeah, it's true. Apparently doctors are like busy, like saving lives or something, and they don't want to be on the podcast.
This is more important.
It's really hard. I've asked so many, and like they either don't want to be on because they feel like maybe it's too silly for them, and they feel like it'll affect their career negatively, or like they're just like working literally all the time. It's really hard.
I don't have any advice for you.
No, me neither. So anyway, maybe
Bribes?
Sorry to pin them down. Bribes.
What do doctors like for
because they
bribes?
make a lot of money, so they don't like.
No,
money
they
either.
like something else, thoughtful. I don't
drugs? they have access to drugs too.
know. What you thought drugs when I said thoughtful?
No, I don't know. Like, what else could you be implying that they would want? Money. My mind goes straight to drugs after money.
Pets.
Someone to give their patients their cell phone number.
Oh, yeah, blackmail.
Oh, blackmail. Good advice over here. All right. Okay, that's it. Those are the upcoming pods.
Okay.
Adam, as promised, got his 23andMe results.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to read them on the air. You promised to
Right
do
now.
this. He's going to pretend that he hasn't seen them before, but really, he freaking looked at them beforehand. I'm very upset about it.
What? Yeah, I did that. Okay, so I pulled this up on my phone. I screenshot it.
Wow.
And I thought for sure, because like every Texas family says that they have, like your great grandfather was full blood Native American.
Yeah, that's a lie, by the way. If your parents told you that, it's a lie.
My family actually said that we're directly related to Quanah Parker, which is a very, not joking, that is a very famous Native American, and
I'm looking at his results. I can tell you it's not true.
yeah, so it turns out I'm literally 100% European, 50% British and Irish, 22.5% French and German, 10% Scandinavian, 0.2% Finnish.
0.2% Finnish is like the most diverse thing that you have in this profile, which is really sad. It literally says at the top of it, European 100%. There's like not a drop. You're like whiter than my husband.
Yeah,
Which is
I know.
crazy.
Should I get an award? Do they give awards for this?
Well, you basically have every privilege in life as a white straight man. So
That's true.
Congratulations, you won the lottery.
I kind of, yeah. Wow, I'm going to avoid a really deep conversation here.
Yeah, we probably should.
That is a rabbit hole.
I was going to say something about like Trump calling you Pocahontas, but
Oh,
that's
that's getting political.
yeah, I know. Well, whatever.
That's okay.
Yeah. Anything Trump on this podcast gets out of date quick.
I know, right?
Old
Always
news.
something old. This is great, though. I'm really happy to see this. My parents also lied to me about my Native American heritage, so don't feel bad. I'm surprised you have this much. You have 0.2% Finnish. I mean, that's something.
That's
Something.
That's something.
Okay.
That makes me feel so
All
much
right.
better.
Moving on. Should we do Acronomicon first and then do the intros?
Acronomicon.
Seems like that's what we're doing. All right, we have 2 today, and William and Lieschen are going to do the Acronomicons. The first is PI.
Planning increment.
I was going to say private iguana. It's like,
You were trying not to say private investigator.
yeah, no, I was not trying to not say that. I mixed it
Excellent.
up. It was creative, Kim.
I feel like you guys, though, had a little kerfuffle on what PI was, though. Planning
little debate.
increment. What's,
I was saying program increment.
But I think planning increment is much more descriptive, and it's how I've heard it. So
I don't know why you guys had to go to fisticuffs about it.
there was a violent fight before we started recording.
drinks were thrown.
Lieschen won.
The next one is SAFE, which is SAF and then little e. That's a 4-letter one, Adam. Are you sure you want to go for it?
Well, because I actually know what this stands for and that the E is completely irrelevant.
Okay, that's good enough. We'll let William take this one then.
Sodium, argon, iron.
That's totally it. I don't know why people use that, but, it's a very specific use
It
case.
guides us in everything we do.
You're killing me.
Very important.
I'm sorry, I messed up sulfur with an S.
Yes.
All right. Any others? Any other Agile acronyms that we haven't discussed or described previously? We've talked about the difference of PM and PO.
Did we ever actually say that SAFE is the scaled Agile framework?
We did not.
We didn't.
Crap. Sorry.
That's
after
irrelevant
we got into
knowledge.
the iron, and we forgot to.
That's why I said.
Was I not supposed to be snarky?
No,
Okay.
you can
I
be
thought
as
we were
snarky
past
as
the
you'd
snark.
like.
Yeah,
You
that's
also did not intro the women's episode.
Oh well, no, because I've already recorded it.
Yeah.
No, we didn't. Yeah.
You didn't because you're not a woman. You weren't on it.
That's true. I tried to I couldn't find a wig fast enough. I was gonna Miss
You can
Doubtfire it and be like, oh hello, hello children.
Oh my god, we'll do that one next time. You can give
I'm sorry, but
fake advice.
the one place your privilege won't get you is into the women's podcast.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fair.
Don't worry, you're not missing a whole lot. So.
Are we gonna discuss what the F is up with that little E on SAFE? Because it's scaled agile framework, and they're like, you know what? It works better with this tiny E, so let's just try to slip it in and make
Yeah.
it lowercase.
That's
so
a good
no
point.
one.
What is the E?
No, it's to make it easy to
yeah.
say and remember.
It's because otherwise people would be like SAF.
Yeah.
And you're like, what's
SAF.
SAF?
Or they'd say sodium, aluminum, iron.
Obviously,
Would
it rolls
they?
off the
That's
tongue.
got an
no,
element
they
too.
want it.
What's
Sulfur.
straight A? I don't know what a straight A is on the
I
periodic
don't
table.
know. I do not know the periodic table.
Oh.
The world may never know.
There's no device that we could use to find the answer to this question. We'll move on.
Thank
Who
God.
wants to be introed first? This is the information that I learned by scoping you out on the internet.
Uh-oh.
You moved here from Virginia a few years ago. How do you feel about contributing to the increasingly horrific traffic in the Denver metro area?
That is Colorado privilege. This is not horrendous traffic.
It's true. Yeah, that's a good point. I came
Yeah.
here from Chicago. Yeah, it's not that
Not yet.
bad.
I mean-
Stop complaining, people.
I mean, I-25 can get kind of gnarly sometimes, though.
I was driving to South Federal on Saturday evening, and it took a ridiculous amount of time to get there, even though it's only 5 miles from here.
At least 12 minutes.
Yeah, you're right. It took 20 minutes, which is actually not that bad. You're right. We're totally spoiled. Anyway, that's the only actual thing I have.
That was it? where did you learn that but nothing else?
I think I forgot to continue.
She's a terrible private iguana.
Yeah.
No, but for real. So right now, your title is a product manager, right?
Product owner.
Product owner. Okay,
Yeah,
so
we have PMs and POs.
That is awesome. I wish we did.
OMG.
So you're a product owner. What product do you own?
We have multiple teams working on Agile Central. So it's a big enough product that we each own some parts of it. So I'm got a lot going on with the team board, kind of the way that teams visualize their work and make it happen. So that's
Cool.
nice stuff.
I like it.
Yeah.
Lieschen, I have a lot of stuff about you.
What?
I'm sorry. I think I started with her, and then by the time I got to your profile,
It's because we haven't met before.
Are we not
Whoa.
that
friends?
is also true.
Yeah.
Well, we're friends now.
Yeah.
Okay. I've never met her.
Yeah, you
before
should see the
today.
small blurb on William and then just this
Wow.
mini novella.
I'm all ears.
Where did you get her family pictures from? What is that? How is that relevant?
Beautiful children. No. So I was actually really interested in your background because you're a Scrum Master, right?
Yes.
And you have an MA in conflict resolution.
I do.
Which I thought was just a really interesting use of a conflict resolution background for Scrum Mastering. It kind of fits really well. Do you feel like it helps you in your...
Yeah, it fits really well. Well, so for conflict resolution, I did environmental conflict resolution. So I
Okay.
had to do project management around large-scale public conflict. And that led me down the path of lean and eventually agile.
That's so cool. Also, can we talk about the fact that you are a seamstress for the UC costume department? Because that was my favorite thing in your LinkedIn profile. And I think it was literally in the same sentence that you wore the UC costume design or department seamstress and then also worked for the rugby team in one sentence. And I was like, was she seamstressing the rugby uniforms? I'm so confused.
No, I am a costume fanatic. Halloween is my favorite thing ever. So
Too late on the
costumes
holidays.
were important. So yeah, my college job was costume. They paid me to make costumes for the plays.
But not the rugby team.
No, and then I was also on the rugby team, totally separate.
Okay.
But I got them very into Halloween, and we trick-or-treated through college.
I did cosplay for the first time this year for an expo in Los Angeles, and I sewed a tunic out of a shower curtain I got at Goodwill.
By so, do you mean that you just did one straight line?
No, it was good. It was good.
What was the cosplay?
It was. Okay, I was hoping to leave this out to avoid how
Us ridiculing you for the rest
crazy
of the
nerdy
episode?
I am. It was an anime festival in Anime Expo in Los Angeles, and it was a character from a video game.
I don't know it anyway.
His name is Saizo, and he's from a game called Fire Emblem. And
Okay.
yeah, look it up. It's cool.
Okay.
It's way cool, guys. I swear.
I believe you.
All right, we're going to play a super quick game. We've already been kind of bullshitting for the last 15 minutes, but we're going to continue. Before we go into scaling Agile, I promise you we will have some helpful information, but we're going to start out with a quick warm-up, which is a new game. I'm going to have to find a new elephant noise equivalent for this. Yeah. Maybe we'll bring the horse back? Oh, meow would be good. Oink would be good. All right.
Write that down.
Anyway, the game is called Cool Shit or Bullshit.
Whoa, there's two shits in that.
It's a really super quick game. I'm just going to say a word or a phrase, and you have to answer quickly. Cool shit or bullshit.
Wait, who?
Only them.
Okay. Damn it.
You want
You
to
can
play?
play.
You can play, Adam.
No, it's okay. I don't want to play anymore.
Not for points, but you can play for honor.
Okay. For honor.
For honor, you
And
can.
glory.
I mean, there's not
Yeah.
really any points. Well, I'll make up
What?
I'll make up the points.
Yes.
Okay. Jira. You guys did not answer quickly enough. Let's-
Bullshit.
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 What is it?
Okay, you
Always.
guys work for Rally. Come
I
on.
know.
All right.
I was waiting for them. I was going to be polite.
Okay, let's try that again. Jira.
Bullshit.
Adam, you didn't respond.
Bullshit.
He's the tiebreaker.
I'm trying to be polite.
Last episode, we literally spent a full 15 minutes complaining about Jira. I actually had to
Cool shit.
I literally had to edit it down to an appropriate amount of minutes. Really like the continue with character that. All right,
What's the next
Excited
one?
about it.
next anime.
Cool shit.
All agree.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
I added that one in the last minute. when You
Thanks.
said you sounded like a nerd.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, next. Healthy snacks in the office.
Cool shit.
Cool shit.
What?
You missed your chance.
Free snacks over no snacks.
Oh, I didn't say they were free. I said they were healthy.
It depends how healthy they are.
Our free snacks are not healthy.
Do you have to pay for your snacks?
Yes, and we're not gonna. We don't talk about where I work on this podcast, but
Google.
Totally.
Google would
I have
definitely
to
free
walk
snacks.
past the door next to the Google cafeteria
No.
up the stairs on my way every morning.
Really?
Breakfast smells delicious.
And they just have your drool mark on the window as your tongue just drags across. You're just like, ah.
Oh my god.
Pretty much, yeah.
You really pissed that window washer off. He's like, every time.
All right, next. Red pandas.
Cool shit.
Cool shit.
Black and white pandas.
Bullshit.
Thank you. I like the strength and the assertiveness.
They're cool still. They're just less cool.
No.
Less cool shit.
There's no middle ground.
Damn
There's
it.
no gray area in this
Okay.
game. That's it. That's the game. It's over. Going into the actual
Podcast.
subject of what we're going to talk about. All right, so many of you, product managers, may have experienced some sort of agile problem at work. What we're going to talk about is if you were having an issue scaling agile for your team. So, you guys both had that issue and you experimented.
Then they're like, wait a second. We've got lab coats. Let's use them.
What are we going to do with these beakers? Let's experiment with our scaling agile problem. So tell me a little bit about what prompted you to start experimenting and what kind of problems you were having.
Sure. So yeah, we've been using scaled agile techniques for quite a while, but we were finding we just weren't getting the results that we felt we could as a train. So a release train, a term we use, it means a team of teams, several teams coming together as an overall train. We even have a release train engineer. We talked about that earlier.
Ooh.
I know, job titles you crave. So we were doing a great job. We had getting a lot of the benefits. Teams are coming together. We felt like we were one group, even though we were 8 to 10 teams. We just weren't seeing progress on the big visionary product changes we wanted to have. We were finding that we had lots of people doing stuff, but it wasn't really coming together as a cohesive whole.
So when you're saying you weren't getting the results that you wanted, you mean that you weren't getting like the product, like you weren't building the product that you were wanting to build.
Those big ideas that we had were taking too long still.
Okay, got it. And so what did you do about it?
We decided to pull teams together on common big ideas to try to get them done faster.
Okay.
So we called them swarms.
Oh.
Yeah.
Tyler may
know.
have some ideas on this.
Well, we talked about swarms last week.
Yeah, but it was a different idea.
Yeah.
It was a different
Yeah.
context of what swarms were.
He was
that was
doing-
a swarm pattern and not swarm team.
But you said that you call them squads now,
Well-
right?
Well, we're experimenting. We're changing. We're figuring out what name works the best. Because there is swarming, and the industry usually means a team of developers and testers and who not being able to go outside their job boundaries to all swarm on a problem.
Yeah.
Which this stemmed from that and the idea that like a bunch of teams could do the same thing that an individual team does and all swarm on one thing rather than each team owning an individual vision.
Yeah.
That's why the word swarm came, but like you've said, we've moved on. Squads, though, nobody likes.
You heard it here
like,
first.
A little too cheerleadery.
Well,
I was
I
gonna
mean,
say-
technically, a squad is smaller.
Really?
I mean, if you're going military terms,
Yeah.
a squad
That's
is
true.
actually a smaller group, and we're not going to smaller groups. It's a bigger group.
You settled with legions instead.
Yes.
Well, and
yes.
Swarms are great because a swarm swarms on a problem. Squads squat on a problem. It doesn't really work the same way.
So bad. So paint a picture for me. Like, paint a picture of, like, how your teams were organized before and then after.
We have, I don't know how many teams, like 12, but the front end, like feature teams, we have about 7, probably. And each of them had like an initiative. So like that bigger picture thing that was gonna really deliver. Then we moved to like initiative with multiple features so that each feature could be worked on by a team to get multiple features done for an initiative.
Got it.
So it was like a feature-focused team. Like, each team was working on one individual feature.
Well, we try to keep our whip down, right? So, like, you finish a feature before you start the next one. And if you only have one team working, that's only one feature towards each initiative at a time.
Yeah.
And earlier we talked about product managers and product owners. We've got our product managers leading those initiatives, those swarms as a whole, helping understand the market, identify the problems, and then each team as a product owner working with them individually to figure out how do we make the solution, how do we make this feature beautiful and succeed, tracking metrics and so on.
So I'm looking at, and of course, podcast listeners, you cannot see this, but I have a visual from your presentation at Rocky Mountain Product Camp. And
There's lots of circles on it.
there's a lot of circles. So the PM, as William just said, is kind of off to the side, focusing on like the greater business problems, I guess. And then we have UX up in the corner, kind of also off to the side, architect down below, kind of off to the side. So they're kind of working a little bit on the periphery of the team. And then you have, of course, all your devs and QAs together. And then there's a PO, a scrum master, and a manager.
Yeah.
So what does the manager do?
The managers, that's a little bit unique for us, are kind of, I would say, embedded with the team, attending stand-ups, sitting with the teams in the common areas, coding if they have bandwidth.
Ooh. They deal with all the people stuff, the HR stuff, and they code.
Oh, wow.
So they're different than a tech lead. They're probably a tech lead, but they're also very much just the people person, the people developer, focused on that side of things.
Because tech lead is it's essentially the idea of a tech lead is almost entirely focused on coding.
Yeah, sole contributor, maybe helping
Coding mentor.
teach and mentor, but it's not this. They don't do any of the HR stuff. They're not helping people necessarily grow in their career.
Right.
Doing those one-on-ones with the team.
Yeah.
That's an interesting personality type that wants that role, right? Because usually, in my experience, tech lead type people do not want to do any administrative tasks.
And that's why we have both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. So can we talk a little bit about like what your planning calendar was like? Like how did you change, or what did you change about like your calendar and the way that the work in the calendar was organized?
Sure. So we had about 4 private iguanas a year.
I love it.
Yeah, they were clutch. They really helped us get to the bottom of our issues. So we had 4 different planning increments a year, so each one being 3 months. And that's when we did our big room planning event. If for those who aren't familiar with that, that's where we got all the teams together into a big space for a day and a half to get a plan together for that upcoming 3 months. A really great experience. We have a lot of fun with it. Our
So
last
it's once
one-
a quarter.
Once a quarter. Our
Okay.
last one was themed after the Big Lebowski. So we went bowling afterwards. So
That's so rally, like you guys like have fun themes and stuff. It's like exactly what I picture the rally office doing.
it's good times.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we used to do, that's how we did it. We've got that big room planning every 3 months. And then what we wanted to do is we're constantly experimenting with what's the right way to get the level of focus that we want on these features. So we've experimented with getting more teams on a central focus on these initiatives. We're also looking at how do we get that time box, that PI at the right length. So we've actually started splitting our quarts up into pints. We had a little bit of, should be quartlets or pints. We settled on pints. And we've been trying to make our planning horizons shorter so that teams can focus more on getting a tangible result out in the market as quickly as they can. And it helps us as anybody. Having a shorter horizon means that you know faster if there's a risk that manifests or if you need help.
Would they call that Kaizen?
Well, Kaizen is more of the experimentation, the ever improving on your process.
Incremental
So Kaizen
improvement.
is like switching from a quarter to the pintlets or whatever we're calling them. It's trying swarming and then being willing to switch to whatever we're calling them, squads or initiative teams after that. So that's Kaizen.
The ability to pivot and kind of adjust the process.
Yes. Constant improvement.
I think in Japanese it literally means constantly improving.
Yeah.
Constant improvement.
I thought you'd know this, Mr. Anime.
No.
No?
Turns out, even from all of my heritage, I know very little Japanese.
A chance for redemption, Kanban?
Which
We
means
talked about this last week.
Okay.
billboard or signboard. It means like the same thing in both Chinese and Japanese, right? It's like billboard and signboard, which is interesting. I mean, I said interesting. We're not supposed to say interesting.
Yeah, we try not to say interesting on the
Fascinating.
You got
There's
100
a bottle of
points.
whiskey right beside you. Luckily,
Dang it.
don't have to go far.
I have to drink this whiskey now.
You redeemed yourself. It's good.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Redemption.
So, what were the results that you found after? So, first of all, for how long did you try the new planning calendar? Did you try it out for like an entire quarter, or were you changing it every sprint? Like what was happening?
We tried for a couple quarters and we had different sort of versions of it going. So we had like 4 teams on one and then 2 teams on another and then like one team that got to ramp up to get ready to have work that could all be simultaneous the following quarter. So we were watching it all kind of run together. And so there were like growing pains. We knew we needed more than a quarter to see that play out.
Slightly chaotic.
Of course. Yeah.
How did the dev teams react to that?
Yeah, so we definitely ran surveys asking teams, was this cool shit or bullshit? And the first time they generally said it was bullshit. It's just Whenever you do a cultural change, ask your quote-unquote customers, your employees, your fellow peers, how they're feeling about it. We got a lot of great feedback for how to make it better. And our NPS score was, I don't even want to talk about it. We asked them, would you recommend swarming to a peer? And
Was our NPS score was like negative 80?
Yeah.
Wait, what's NPS? Acronomicon.
Oh!
Net Promoter Score.
National Park Service.
He came up with that really quick.
That was really quick. I was still on the whole starting with the word newt. And I had yet to figure out the PS part. Postscript.
Yeah.
Yes! We both got it.
National Promoter Score.
Net Promoter
Net Promoter.
Not
I see. I already
newt
forgot the
post-
actual
New
meaning.
post.
Could do nitrogen, potassium, sulfur, maybe.
Just periodic.
Yeah,
tabling all over.
Well, and the lab coats just bring it out.
The Beakers.
Yeah.
It doesn't help that he's drinking out of a beaker right now.
Anyway, for it to be Net Promoter Score, for it to be positive, you have to be more than neutral. And then anybody that's less than neutral, it's a negative. That's a lot of negative.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So dev teams were kind of all over the map. Were they frustrated with the rate and just sheer amount of change?
They were more, I think, struggling with all of a sudden. They had been working as a one team on these initiatives, right? These
Yeah.
big pictures. It was their work, and now it was coordination nonstop. There could be 4 features going at once. That's a lot of work in progress, right? And then refactors would happen because they didn't realize that they were stepping on each other's toes. It got kind of messy, and then their engineers, they had to talk to each other a lot more. They had to
Was there like an introduction of a lot of tech debt because of that?
So that was the debate, right? How much tech debt did we create because of that? How much work got thrown away due to refactors? So, which it didn't happen a lot, but it did happen. And there was animosity, right? So then you have the cultural issue of teams like, that team threw my work away but it was the nature of the process, and so it was just kind of messy.
And that is something when you are a developer to just realize is if you're like first coming in as a developer, it can be really disheartening to have your work thrown away. But that's part of the business, and that's part of if your work is thrown away. And the result is, a better product. You have to be okay with that, even though.
And we did actually, the messiest one, we actually got some reusable components out of that have benefited us, 3 quarters later. So we have
That's
seen
nice.
in that some benefit.
In terms of collaboration, though, generally that was the one thing they did like. We had kind of asked them on different attributes or different things
They
that we
liked
wanted to
it.
get. They liked even interacting with other people, not only developers, but other job titles, like getting a chance to talk to product managers and UX and architects more than they had in the past.
Yeah.
Because we would do a lot of the activities and ceremonies that you would do as an agile team, we scaled up to the swarm level. So we would do stand-ups at a swarm level, and not all of the devs, but representatives. Also doing like some work breakdown at that level and retrospecting at that level. So it was a chance to interact with people that they wouldn't normally.
Which is surprising because developers are usually not very opinionated when they want to talk to people. Like no opinions whatsoever.
No, they never have opinions. No. I never have developers telling me the way that things should be done.
I never force my opinion on anybody.
I think, too, they really wanted us to understand there's a balance, right? Like 4 teams all at once was just too much. They
Okay.
liked working with other people and outside their team, but 4 teams was a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. So where did you land as far as results? Like, did it make a difference in the original problem that you had, which was you weren't getting those big idea features out quickly enough? Like, did it change the time from start to finish of getting those big features out?
I think it did. We definitely saw more features getting completed in a particular direction, right, under in a particular initiative, and a lot more collaboration. The PM really had to be a bit closer to say, okay, well, this is really what we need to get out, right, and helping everybody coordinate to get that out faster. So I do think that did work.
I think it's hard to quantify too.
Yeah.
Like, how do you even measure that, being that like the scope of the feature is probably changing a lot if you're moving that quickly and just coordinating with all those different teams?
I know I'm kind of stepping back a little bit, but like you mentioned that like that 4 teams was a little too much communication. Is that what? Yeah. is there like a Goldilocks zone that you found for like developers being comfortable with how many people they have to communicate with?
So now that we are moving on to, I'll call them initiative teams. I like initiative teams better than squads.
That sounds good.
I like that.
Initiative.
You know, because we're all on the same initiative, even
Yeah.
though we're working on features under that
Yeah.
initiative. So, William and I were working, our two teams were working together. So 2 teams, getting a lot done. It was easier to coordinate. They understood each other's work better. We were able to sit next to each other. So 2 felt really good.
So roughly maybe like the amount of people that it takes to sit together was that balance?
I think 3 worked pretty well too, though. So with 2, you don't get a lot of benefit. Like you've got like this overhead in a sense. You've got.
And remind me how many people are on one team?
I think it's the same 2 pizza team, 5 to 8 people.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah. Not gonna call me on 2 pizza teams.
No.
Okay.
We're gonna let that one slide through.
Yeah. A candy reference to figuring out the right size for an Agile team is you should be able to order lunch for them without thinking about it. You should just be able to order a cheese and a pepperoni pizza and just splurge with lunch as a surprise.
I have some gluten-free people.
I didn't say gluten pizza.
We do work in Boulder.
I know. Fine.
You know those Googlers next door, they're not getting any shitty pizza.
No.
They're getting like
Yeah.
something way better. So
Bobby Flay pizza right there.
Gluten-free vegan pizza, that's what they have.
yeah. Ugh, gross.
But with 3 teams, you can start having that power behind it, right? You can get that oomph, that progress. And I don't think the coordination was too bad. At 4, we started getting the problems. That's where our larger swarms were struggling.
But that's so much. I mean, that's a lot of people. I mean, because you're getting into like what 32-ish, 30-ish people, like 4 teams, and that is a lot of. I mean, that's a lot.
It is a lot.
Well, and so the POs and the PMs have a lot of work to do on how that work gets coordinated and making sure that they're not stepping on each other's toes. And we have one right now that's going with 3 teams, but one is really focused on like back end, kind of a different piece. So there's really only 2 teams that have to worry about being in the same part of the code at the same time.
Yeah. That was one of the biggest takeaways from our first experiment was how do you get the code base to be manageable sizes so that teams aren't stepping on each other's toes.
Is management over at Rally? I'm just calling it Rally. I know you're CA Technologies now.
Everybody
but
does.
I'm calling it Rally anyway because that's the way I know it. Are they just like totally 100% behind anything you guys want to do? Do you have like carte blanche? Do you not want to talk about this?
No, I would say that we're actually really open to experimenting. People are willing to try it.
Okay.
I mean, they're gonna have opinions, but they'll try it.
Do you have to run it by management if you're like, hey, we want to like try this experiment, or like how much?
These were definitely conversations that were happening.
Okay.
With a lot of management, we had product management, our release train engineer, engineering directors saying like, how do we solve this problem of getting these big ideas out quickly? And everybody sort of, and there's always Scrum Masters involved too, so people are always there to work it together, and it's like, well, let's try this. Well, and then we sort of tell everybody, right, like, well, we're trying this, so sorry.
As you have more success, with your incremental changes, aka Kaizen. Yeah.
Kaizen.
Yeah. I would imagine that they would give you more freedom, right?
Yeah.
Less so? Or are they still kind of...
It's not necessarily about management at our org. It's like about devs need to not be pushed around too much. They need to not be worried
Some
about
stability.
changing process. They need stability. They need to know they can get their work done and they want to know how they're going to do it. And if you're constantly, tomorrow you're doing your work in a totally different way, but you'll come in focused. Yeah. So I think... management tends to be really excited about this sort of thing.
Yeah.
You have to be careful not to wag everybody.
So there's a time frame that, it has to take place. You have to have a certain amount of cushion time between so that you're not making people have enough time to adapt. And that makes sense.
I would say we have a really strong culture of taking in feedback, soliciting it, being safe about what we do, not to be confused with Little E Safe. Safe about what we do with that feedback so that people are comfortable giving it and they know that we're really trying to use it for good and make their lives better.
Okay.
And make sure we have the right guardrails in place to give teams autonomy. So each swarm or squad does have a lot of variety within it. We might have one focusing on technical debt, one focusing on kind of a known problem, just building out a solution, and one that's maybe just hyper experimental and changing every day what they're trying to do. It gives developers and product people the chance to trend towards what environment they're comfortable in. And I think it's great. Kind of when it comes to those management conversations, you kind of can set that expectation ahead of time. Here's the type of initiative we're going to have, and they're more open to that.
That's the great thing about PMs and POs. The PMs can say, I want this. And the POs are like, yes, I'm going to run this experiment to get you that. You know, like, it's just kind of fun.
I would love to have that in our org. We just had PMs, and...
That's how Google works. It's just PMs.
Really?
I was asking you since
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't work for Google. Maybe one day, hopefully. Although I think that they only hire technical people as PMs there. So I might be out of luck. But
You can
anyway.
come work in our building.
I know. I'll be like, hey guys, enjoy your gluten pizza over there. I'm over here eating my filet.
You Bobby Filet.
My Bobby filet. Was there anything, like, if you had advice for somebody trying to experiment with scaling Agile at their organization, is there anything that you did that you wish you hadn't done?
I think we got excited with one initiative in particular, and we ramped up on it really quickly, and then we needed work for teams to do. And it created more chaos and less. The devs want to know what value they're creating.
Yeah.
And we lost sight of that because it was just so fast. And there was so much pressure just from the process we created. Like, well, PM, just give us stuff, you know? Like, it just got, having that stuff hashed out.
Yeah.
Knowing where you're going, feeling very confident about it. And if you don't know where you're going, if you need customer feedback, then it should be smaller and you don't need 4 teams.
Yeah.
It's hard to find the right speed sometimes between, like, too slow and then, like, way too fast also, because then you end up building the wrong thing.
Yeah.
If somebody is trying to take some of your advice and implement this in their org, like, tomorrow, what would be some other pieces of advice that you'd have for where to start? Like, how do you get started? I think that's the hardest thing.
Beakers and jackets.
Done.
And pocket protectors.
We've got the change
Pocket
management,
protectors.
$50 pack.
You can buy it. You
It's on
guys
the
have a
Product
website.
Popcorn website.
Yeah, you can buy the merch at the Product Popcorn website.
I should, like, just put an Amazon link up there to, like, Beakers. Get some ad revenue.
I would do the lab coat before the beakers.
Yeah, I agree.
People
Less
assume you
breakable.
have the beakers if you got the lab.
You know what though? If I had like a PO come up to me wearing a lab coat, I'd be like, oh geez, already uncomfortable with this change.
Got real. I was going to stress that with any change, find your champion. Find as high up in your organization as you can get that person who's got your back. Because very often when it comes to wide-scale change, you're going to need either advice or support from someone higher up, and it's always good to have that champion ready to go when you need that.
Yeah, it's good advice.
And as obvious as this sounds, know what you're trying to change, define it, figure out a way you're going to measure it, because people want to know if they went through the pain of change, did it work?
Yeah, you're gonna have
Yeah.
to sell it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what's your goal? Like, have it
And it's
write
easy
it
to say,
down.
well, I feel like it's going to do this or whatever, but you got to be, especially with, I think, developers, they want to see it. They need to see it.
Yeah.
And my rule of thumb is always try something 3 times before you judge it. It can be really great to go into that at the start, being, hey, developers or teams, we're going to try this 3 times. If you're not feeling well about this, let us know, but please don't try to talk behind backs or cause an upswell.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to have a retrospective after 3 times, whether that's iterations or quarters or whatnot, so that people know if they have frustrations, who they can talk to, and that there will be a place for them to vent that and collaborate on it.
And I think that's, speaking of privilege, I think that's one of the things that we have.
I love how you just like looked me right in the eyes when you said speaking of privilege. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We have an organization that I think is people are comfortable going right to you and telling you, right?
Yeah.
Like, they might have water cooler talk, but they're also just going to tell you to your face, and you know what's happening. And so I don't think it's that hard to get the pulse because people aren't afraid to talk. So if you have an organization where people are afraid to talk, you need to get in there and make them very comfortable with telling you how they feel about the change.
Yeah.
And you can't be afraid to hear the feedback, right? You can't be so committed to something.
But also setting the expectation of when the feedback is appropriate, I think, is like really important.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you just have people like complaining every day.
First hour, not appropriate.
Yeah.
Well, that's why we have we have retros at the team and initiative level. We have surveys we send out. So there are very clear like opportunities. And also, like we said, we have the dev manager. So you're one-on-one weekly. You can give feedback there.
As a developer, I think it's just important that we know that our opinions are valued and that there is a medium for us to express our opinions. And I think as long as you provide those both, it's like, okay, well, we respect what you think and we want to change and adapt this to fit you.
Yeah.
I think that's what's important. Yeah.
And I think that was something that we did fairly well. Like as we make changes, we say, this is the feedback we heard from this source. This is the change we made. Mm-hmm. This is what we think the outcome's going to be. So they know right up front, like, that's why we did it. It's where we think it's going. We'll tell you if we got there.
Cool.
Good luck.
Yeah.
So what's next for you guys? Have you found a good cadence? What are the next experiments you're running? Or is it like trade secret? Trade secret?
No.
We're always changing. It's hard to tell what the new thing will be. But we've got things in the works for next year. Like, for instance, when we switched quarters down into 2 pints, it doesn't really work out from a calendar's perspective. So we're going to have to figure out something different as we go into the new year.
And we're not really seeing any change. There is some, like, people seem to feel like they can grip the stuff easier thinking in 6 weeks instead of 3 months. But we're not seeing overall, like, delivery performance work change. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So we're looking at that.
Yeah.
So would you say the problem you're trying to solve is still kind of the same, still trying to get those big idea features out like quicker? Or do you feel like it's quick enough now?
I think now we're really focused on, as we move fast, how we define that work.
Okay.
And how we communicate that so that at every level people know exactly what the purpose is of what they're doing, the intended outcome, the goal, and if we met it. Because it's so easy to say, like, well, I mean, we got it done. It was a success. Like,
Yeah.
Is that true? Like,
Yeah. What defines success?
yeah, was it the right thing when we got customer feedback? Whatever it is. So we're working on how we define that differently, how we communicate it differently. Since narrowing down to 6 weeks wasn't the answer. What is?
Okay. Cool. Any final thoughts, advice, or other words? Not you, Adam.
I want to hear. I want other people to try stuff like this and tell us about it.
I would like that. I was thinking Tyler. We'll talk to him about it.
I'll hit up Tyler tomorrow. I work with Tyler.
Yeah, they're like, who the hell's Tyler?
He's that guy.
He's that guy.
You will know
He's
tomorrow if you listen.
Yeah, well, in a couple hours. He's a product manager at Shutterstock.
Oh.
William, any other?
I was going to do, on the theme of listening, as a product person, do something every day that scares you and set up a one-on-one with each of your developers and see what you learn and see what great ideas they have that they may not be willing to bring up in a team setting, because developers tend to be introverted in my experience. You'd be surprised what gold you find and how much it means to them to have their product person just talk to them one-on-one.
We have a product person that is great advice. We have a product person at my work that will like take more of a product director that will take like each of the devs out for coffee, just like picks one every day.
That's awesome.
So smart, because
it is,
like William said, like they will just tell you everything in a one-on-one, especially those that are more quiet and reserved and don't like to talk in front of a group in retro or whatever.
Because I can tell you, like, from my experience and working with, friends who are also developers, that like the biggest frustration is like not knowing the value of what you're doing and not knowing like, is my voice, do people even care about what I think? Because like, not knowing if what you're doing is of any worth or if people are listening to your concerns or anything like that is like the two biggest things, I think.
And a lot of that stems from just like lack of communication of the overarching product vision. I think a lot of PMs don't communicate that to their dev teams.
Or it gets communicated in, I think, we've struggled
In
with this.
pieces.
It gets communicated in pieces, or I think PMs struggle so much their job is hard because they have to communicate the same thing to marketing and sales and customers and devs who all need a different version of the same message.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes it's hard to, figure out what language to change to deliver that same message to different people.
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes I feel like I'm repeating myself over and over again, but I have to remember that, like, I haven't been repeating myself over and over again to the dev teams, It's a lot of times just talking to other product people or management or UX or
Or we see the
Always-
customer presentation
or the
and it's
customer.
like, what is
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
How does that relate to me? I don't know.
Yeah, totally. Awesome. Well, Adam, you can have last words too if you'd like. I was just messing with you earlier.
I got nothing. I had words and then I discarded them. Like they're not value of anything.
After we just talked about the value of listening to your
developer
developers.
value. Yeah, no, I got
Private iguana.
Private iguana. So they're like regular iguanas, right? But more.
Privately held.
Yeah, they're like companies, but.
I have some in the basement. My dog.
I got so excited for a second.
I just got these new iguanas. You want to go see
What?
them?
They're like secret iguanas?
Yeah, they're in the basement.
Dang it.
Do you do plugs?
We can do plugs. What do you want to plug?
I was going to do Rocky
yeah.
Mountain Product Camp and
Yes.
some other stuff.
Yes,
There's
please
a
do.
rumor. we might try to do a live podcast from Rocky Mountain Product Camp next time.
Very cool.
So I'd really like it.
Bring this on the road.
We're
All the foam.
bringing my studio setup on
They
the road.
asked that I dress up. I pick a mascot from some college, and I dress up as that mascot for the podcast.
Chip.
We didn't ask you that, but I think that would be great. If
Chip. It's got to be Chip.
Chip.
What?
Done. I don't know what that is.
we don't, we'll learn soon.
Come on, see you.
Oh, Chip is. I thought it was the buff.
No, there's a buffalo, but our mascot is Chip.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's
Who-
like the cartoon buffalo dude.
Oh, of course.
Chip.
I thought his name was
knew
like
that.
Buffy or something. Or
No,
Bu-
that's the live
That's Sarah Michelle
buffalo.
Gellar.
And she's a girl, and she gets run around the field.
We don't need a real buffalo at Rocky
And she
Mountain
kills
Product
vampires.
Obviously.
Buffy the Buffalo Vampire Slayer.
Camp. All right, thanks everybody for listening. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks for listening to Product Popcorn. You can subscribe to the podcast or leave a review on iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher. You can always read more at productpopcorn.com or follow us on Twitter at Product Popcorn.
That's good. Yeah, just enough for me to wet.
You want something to water?
I'm good.
Okay.
Let's just stop.
Do it the
there for
opposite,
Make it
like where you
fire
would
water.
drop water and instead you like drop whiskey in.
Just pour it all the way in.